Hello, thank you for joining us for today's webinar, How to Serve Clients, a Guide for Account Managers with Microsoft Teams. Before we get started, here are a few important messages. During the webinar, you are welcome to submit questions via the chat window on your screen. We will try to answer the questions at the end of the webinar, but if we don't answer your question, don't worry, a Harmony person will answer you via email. As always, we are making a recording of the webcast, available to you within a couple of days. You will get a link via email to the recorded webinar. Today's speakers are Yaakov Cohen, Harmony founder and CEO, and David Lavender, Harmony Chief Product Officer. We will also hear from Alexandra Banica, Head of Operations and Support for Applications at BearingPoint. Alexandra has over 18 years experience in IT and project management, with extensive knowledge of business processes, quality assurance, and IT development methodologies, and the proven ability to lead projects to meet constraints and attain customer satisfaction. We will start the webinar with Yaakov Cohen, Harmony CEO. As the founder of Harmony, Yaakov is a driving force for humanizing technology. By emphasizing a devotion to core values to enable a productive work environment, Yaakov believes technology should work for people rather than the other way around. Yaakov, please.
Hi, thank you very much, Maya, and very pleased to talk about how to serve clients in this post-pandemic era. I think we are all progressively getting out of the pandemic, and the economy is going to be growing and even booming for some geographies. And we know we're not going back to the old world. A lot of things have changed during this time frame. For the past 2 years of the pandemic, we have seen a very rapid move to the cloud, and we have seen a lot of our customers moving to Office 365 and Microsoft Teams. We have also seen something even deeper, which is in the way we are interacting with clients. And we will talk about how to take advantage of the new world and all the things which have changed in order to better serve clients. So that's really a guide for account managers with Teams. And this is happening across all industries, and everywhere we are providing customer service. We really are looking at a shift in the way we are serving clients, and a shift also in the client's expectations. Specifically, in the old days, it was all managed and orchestrated by the account manager. It was very individualized. It was very much our relationship with our suppliers have been and with our clients were very much dependent on the account manager. And this was an individual relationship. This was and the entire customer-supplier relationship was really based on an account manager which was representing the vendor to the client. And what we are seeing these days is, first, we have been used to less face-to-face interactions, and even in the, we had no face-to-face interactions for the past 18 months. But as we go back progressively to normal, everybody's saying we're going to move to an hybrid mode. It still is going to be less travel, less face-to-face interactions. And we're also faced with a much more regulated environment, which is reducing the dependency on an individualized relationship with an account manager. And really, there is a shift to a more collaborative and transparent environment. And the way to look at it is really there is a shift from relationship-based to value-based relationships, or value-based interactions between vendor and customers. It doesn't mean relationships are not important. Of course, relationships are key, but they become more a mean to an end. They are the mean to deliver more value. And we expect to get, the client are expecting to get answers very quickly. He expects to get value more quickly. And because of the regulation environment, everything needs to be also transparent and well documented. The other thing which we gain in the new environment, and we all have a tremendous opportunity to leverage this new environment. And companies which will be able to embrace the change will be able really to deliver much better value and much better results. The other thing is also from a technology standpoint, with the digitalization and with the move to the cloud, which has been very fast in the past 18 months, probably more than the last decade. So now we have, in some cases, very hastily deployed Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams has a lot of impact on the business end users. A lot of business end users are struggling between all these applications, but the benefit is that we have our entire teams are now using Microsoft Teams, and we can really leverage the fact that we have expertise available within Microsoft Teams to better answer customer requests. So we can implement this model of a more collaborative, transparent, and efficient operation by actually bringing the discussions with the customer to Microsoft Teams. So what we have been doing here at Harmony is really to think, how can we leverage Microsoft Teams to enable our customers to really leverage their expertise and the expertise of their team to deliver more value to their customers? And how can we shift from these email relationships, which were very opaque and very one-on-one, or in a CC list where it's very difficult to follow? How can we leverage the transparency of Microsoft Teams to deliver a much better experience and much better value for the customer? So I want to invite David Lavanda, our Chief Product Officer, to show us how Servicemate is taking advantage of this new world.
Thank you, Yaakov. Let me just get the screen up and running so everybody can see. Okay, so the best way to actually demonstrate what Yaakov was talking about is through a real world case, a case that happens every day. It's probably a case you're familiar with from your own organization. And it's a case, let's just take an example. Two companies are merging, Honor Incorporated and Ravenwood. You probably have heard about the mega merger. Maybe it's buried in some of the other big tech news, but this is a big mega merger that's going on right now. And of course, these things never go smoothly. There's a lot of work that has to be done in order to get the merger through. So the client is Ravenwood. This is our man, Sam Cooper. He's a business analyst, and he's got questions about taxes. You know, how is this deal going to be put together in such a way that the company can minimize taxes, understand the different aspects, how the deal should be structured. So he turns to his trusted advisors, advised consultants. These are the experts with who he's going to get this information about the merger. Now, I just happen to be the client manager for Ravenwood in this demo. So I am responsible for this relationship with Ravenwood, and although it's my job to manage the relationship, of course I don't know all the answers that Sam is going to have for me. So all the questions he's going to have, I'm not going to have the answers. So I turn to my trusty experts on my team. Maya, who's our legal expert, Itai is our tax expert, and Hilaz, our compliance expert. These folks are going to be able to weigh in and provide the answers. Now, the old way of working in this situation would be through email. But how does this process work? Before we actually look at the tools, let's look at the process, and then we'll see how this works in Servicemate, in Harmony's new offering. So the business process basically starts with a Sam sending an email and an attachment. So Sam might reach out, Sam at Ravenwood might reach out and say something like, there's a merger coming, I got a lot of questions, this is what we know, give me your advice on how to structure this. In the old days, what I would do in a situation like that is I would get that mail that would be sent to a shared mailbox, and then I would maybe forward that to one of the people on the team. They would respond. There'd be an endless email thread in case one client told us that an initial email eventually spread into even over 1,000 emails that just from a single thread from the back and forth on this. And eventually I would come to some sort of conclusion and I would answer Sam through email. And that's just a complete mess. Teams, a collaborative environment that lets you leverage the power of teams, is really a great solution, a great infrastructure to be able to deal with this problem. So how does it work? I get that email through a shared mailbox, and I pass that along to the team in Teams, in a channel. I share the email, so the rest of my team can see the questions, see the email, and then we can have a chat about it. We can ask questions about tax, compliance, legal, any of the legal questions. And then at the end of that, once we've gone back and forth and everyone's put their best foot forward and we've gotten the best answer we have, one of us can answer Sam, and Sam has an answer. Now he's probably going to have more questions, and this cycle is going to repeat until we've provided all the advice that Sam needs, the deal goes through, and the mega merger lives happily ever after. So let's see how this works in practice. I'm going to just show this through the demo. So let me just switch over here for a second. Okay, so what you see in front of you right now is a Teams window that you should all be familiar with. It's just I'm looking at the Teams. I'm in the Ravenwood accounts channel, and there's a discussion going on. So what you see here, just maybe by way of background, this is really a way of, again, empowering teams to do this, to put the entire team on the same page, and let's see how this works in practice here. So what you see is the conversation, and one of the things you see in the conversation is an email. This email that came from Sam at Ravenwood, and he says, as previously discussed, we're exploring a merger with Honor. Attached to this email, you'll find a document that describes the proposal, and he wants feedback and wants to work on it. Now, because it's in the team and the rest of my folks are already on the case, you can see that there's already been discussion here. So if I scroll down below, I shared that email. I say we got this inquiry with Sam at Ravenwood. They're considering a merger. Maya looks back and says she gives her advice about how the legal structure should be, saying the merging entity should be a U.S. company. He weighs in about the tax issues. And at the end of the day, after we finish this discussion, I have enough information to be able to answer Sam's questions. So one email, everyone's working on the same page, everyone gets to see what the whole discussion, everything is transparent. And we're actually leveraging the power of the team. Everybody can work together without this email back and forth. Not only that, I can even open the document if I want to see the document here, the attachment document, and be able to work directly on the document together with, as you'll see in a moment as it loads, to be able to work together with the document with the rest of the folks on my team. And we can all work on that. The original email and the conversation, it's all in one place. And here we are working on it. I make the changes, everybody else will see my changes in context of this discussion. So going back to where I was, so we have this internal discussion, we have the email, and now what I want to do is I have enough information, so I want to answer that email. So what I could do is I click on Open Task, and what we'll see is we'll see a picture, a Servicemate pops up, and what we'll see here is we'll see the email that we got, there's this discussion that happened on it. Even my answer saying, thanks guys, I think we have enough information to answer Sam's questions. I'll send him an email. And what I can do is reply to the email directly from here. So I just click on reply to the last email. I put some text in, and I click on send, and the email is sent off, and Sam gets that information, and it continues. So now everybody on my team can also see the email, so we're all on the same page. And now what happens is Sam, let's see if I can close this back up. Whoops. So I go back to the bottom here. Now I can see, oh, wait a second. Looks like Sam has already responded to me. There's my email. Sam's already gotten back to me. This merger is moving at light speed. Sam has already gotten back to me. You saw my reply was here. The merger looks like a great opportunity. We reviewed your merger structure. I have the following recommendations. To move things along, send me the company profile and the market research. And Sam is really on the case. So he writes, I appreciate your rapid response. Here's the profile and the market research documents that you said, and he's asking some more questions. And not only that, but Ty's already had time to weigh in. So he's already given his response. And so I saw Sam's response based on the documents. He'd recommend to wait until 2022 before they go ahead with the merger. So the entire conversation, all the emails, all the conversations in one place, there's no running between email and teams trying to reconcile where the information is. The internal discussion and the external communication with the client is all done in a single place, so that's easy to see and easy to track, and it's there's accountability for it as well. Now, this looks super easy and straightforward, but a lot of you are probably wondering, how does that email get into the channel, into the conversation to begin with? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over here for a second. You'll see that at the top there's a tab, top of the page. It says Ravenwood at. And what you'll see here is when I click on that, this is the Servicemate app in the window. So what you see is it's a plugin to Microsoft Teams. And when it's released, it'll be available from the Microsoft AppSource App Store. Now, it appears here as a tab, as you see, and then app has been renamed Ravenwood at because in this case, we're dealing with the Ravenwood client inquiries. So we just gave it that name. And on the left side of the screen, you'll see what we have here is is a shared mailbox in Outlook. So in this case, it might be Ravenwood at, where all the emails that Ravenwood has questions about get into the shared team. And what we've done is we've mapped this shared mailbox to the channel, which is why you see it here. So you know that every mail that comes in is not something that everybody on the team needs to work with. It may only be a fraction of those. You see a lot of requests here in the email window itself. So one of the people on the team, or maybe several people, are typically screeners. So they decide which emails need to be handled by the team and which ones don't have to be. And let's just see if we can see any other emails that might be interesting here. So I'm going to see if Sam sent any other emails that came in. And I see, oh, Sam also has a question here about GDPR compliance associated with stuff that he's doing. Now, I know that I don't have the answer for this. So this is another type of email that's going to require handling by the team. I have questions. Again, our compliance people are going to have to weigh in. There might be some legal aspects. So this is one that I want to add to the channel conversation. So what I simply do as the screener is drag it over from the email window into the Teams window. And what I get is a notification that says, okay, do you want to notify the team that this email has come in so that they know that they have to deal with it? And I'll say, yes, I do. I want to notify the team. And now you'll see that this has become a task. So what we're looking at here on the right side of the screen is a task window. So we have shared tasks, own tasks, and completed tasks. Right now, I've just shared a task with the team, so it's yet unassigned. You know, in the old world, we always say that there's a truism that says that when everybody's responsible for something, nobody's responsible for it. And even though we're working as a team, we still have to have accountability. We have to have somebody who's going to own this process of making sure that Sam gets his answer. So at this moment, it's not yet assigned, but let's take a look at it in the conversation. Let's go back to the conversation and see. Now you see this new message came in just below the one that we were looking at before. It's a new message that's come in, and it looks a little different. So I still have my open task button, but I also have an I will take it. So somebody on the team can reach out and grab this task and say, I will take it. In this case, it probably would be Itai. Actually, it would probably be Hila because it's a compliance question. But for the purposes of the demo, I'm going to say I'm going to take this task and be responsible for it, so that there's again this accountability. And now you see that it's owned by me. So now let's go back to the task board, and you'll see now that once that task has an owner to it, it has moved over to the owned. It was before in the shared section. Now it's moved over to the owned section, and now the conversation can continue as we saw before. In the chat window, people can go back and forth, send emails until there's a resolution. Now the final step of this process again is to come into the task board, and you basically drag it over to completed. You'll see that the task turns green. Now the task has been completed. This is a fantastic way to maintain all the open requests that we have with clients, using Teams, not have to install anything else, just being able to work with email and Teams, but now have a very defined process, a structured process that provides accountability, transparency, leverages the power of the team, using Teams in order to get the job done. So that's just a very short demo of Servicemate. We'll have some details coming up about how you can get started with it yourself. What I'm going to like to do at this point is I'm going to turn it over to Alexandra to hear a little bit about how Bearing Point's plans are for Servicemate.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. So Bearing Point delivers management and technology consulting. We drive change in our clients' businesses by creating customized solutions on a personal basis. Your Ways is the name of our initiative from top level to redesign our future way of working. Our strategy 2025 is centered around people. Our people, the people of our clients and society, with a purpose to help people thrive in a fast-changing world and to develop them into leaders. The objective is simple yet ambitious. Simplify our daily life at Bearing Point, empower employees, and transform Bearing Point's way of consulting to make the difference for our people, clients, and ecosystem. In the next slide, I would like to present one of our use cases. In our company, prior to purchasing or building any software application, services, or tools, user must check existing Your Way submissions to see if the tool software is already in discussion. If this is not the case, user must fill out a form about the background, objective, constraints, risks, etc., and send the form to a shared mailbox. The emails are automatically forwarded to a channel in Teams, and then they are discussed in the IT portfolio board. The board includes multiple teams: architecture, IT security, compliance, legal, workers' council representative, and they meet once per week to discuss the new and ongoing topics. Depending on the request, some or all teams must be involved in the decisions. So each request is transformed into a task in Planner and assigned people from the IT portfolio board. Usually there is a main responsible for each task, and the rest just needs to bring their input, concerns, So in the end, a go or no-go decision is taken. This process is difficult to manage in Planner, and sometimes it causes delay. The main responsible for the tasks keeps the discussion open with the internal clients via email and coordinates with the involved people. We have identified that Servicemate can help to manage the process way easier by allowing a single responsible for the task, allocate subtasks, and keep the email exchange on a topic altogether. It also allows to group topics by view, for example, to see only the task allocated to the current user, and to search inside the board. The app could also help in the future for similar references to completed tasks. In our company, Teams is heavily used both for internal team collaboration and projects, and also for external projects with external guests. We were early adopters of Teams, and it was implemented over 4 years ago as one of this of Your initiative. This actually helped us a lot with a transition from office to home working. Since all our people are using Teams, now the downside is that we have a lot of teams and becomes more and more challenging to keep track of all the teams and all the notifications. Servicemate can help with this change also, since we will be able to assign subtasks without adding users to a team. Why we joined the design partner program? Luckily, with Harmony, we share the same vision of the new workplace. IT's responsibility is to buy the correct tools that supports our businesses and also to be able to manage them. IT dilemma: create solution or buy. Maintenance can be a bigger time consumer than development itself, especially that Office 365 updates every 2-3 weeks, and each update might have an impact on the custom development. So in this case, I think the buy is the correct decision, and Servicemate is a win-win situation. Less custom development for us and minimal maintenance. Other advantages of design partnership is influence the product that we are buying and influence the roadmap, the new coming features. I hope this was helpful. And
Thank you, thank you, Alexandra. Very, very helpful. Very informative. With that, I'll turn it back over to Jaco. Hello. So actually, I'll take this. I'll continue taking it myself. All right. So let me just make sure that you see the right screen. So thank you, Alexandra, for that. That was excellent. And just a few words about Servicemate. So what we're announcing with today's webinar is a entry into our design partner program. So the product is not yet available. We're still in late stages of development. So we're making the product available to qualified design partners. The idea is to get early access. So if you have the problem of dealing with clients and you're using Teams and you'd like to use Teams to take care of the shared mailbox and get everybody on the same page and get everybody working together to deal with client requests without having to go back and forth between Outlook and Teams. This is a perfect opportunity to get in on the ground floor and influence our product roadmap. We've already had some extremely successful interactions with clients who've given us fantastic feedback that will be new features that will be incorporated in the premier release of the product. For that consideration, you get a free subscription to the organization. And what we're asking for really is just feedback on the product, feedback on different aspects of it, the pricing model, some use cases. And at the end, if you're happy and you find value, we'd like to do a case study and be able to document the challenges that you've had, the success you've had, and how you've overcome them, and how Outlook and Teams can indeed work together to solve those problems. So really what you need to do to apply is if you need to be using shared mailboxes for working with clients, or be able to shift to shared mailboxes. If you're working with distribution lists today, but you're able to create a shared mailbox, that would be great. You have to have the ability to add apps to Teams, so the ability to do user consent for adding an app to the team for your organization. And that's basically all you'd need. If you can do those technical, you meet those technical requirements, and you have a good use case, we'd be happy to entertain your request and work together with you. There's only 3 slots left. We've started working with a number of companies all over the world, and the feedback has been great. But we want to limit this to a small number so that we're able to provide the kind of service and attention that is necessary to make sure that the product fulfills the requirements of our partners. So there's a QR code, or you can simply go to Harmony/Servicemate and sign up there, and we'd be happy to work with you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Maya for questions.
Thank you, David. We have a few questions. The first question is, do you see the entire email thread with the client?
Yes, you see the entire email thread. When somebody replies, if you send a reply to an email that comes in, and that person answers you, the entire thread stays together in that one place in Teams, where you see all the emails in one place. So once the thread is started, it becomes one activity, one task that people work on. You don't have to start piecing things together. And that's one of the beauties of this, is to create a single flow instead of having to try and juggle multiple places to go and multiple emails to view.
Thank you. Another question is, when will Servicemate be generally available?
So we're based on the feedback that we're getting from clients, we're looking at a January release for the GA. In the meantime, we have a solid version of it that clients are using, partners are using already to fulfill to complete tasks, and we're getting some fantastic feedback, and our partners are starting to see great value from this already.
Thanks. And the last question we'll answer today is, can I change the assignee of a task?
So maybe I can just show that quickly. So if I go back to Teams, there's several ways actually to do this. So one way is to go into this location. Anybody can reassign the task to somebody else. Or if you're in the email, in the conversation itself, you also have the opportunity, if you open the task at the top, you have the ability, once you see the task on the top, you can change the assignee here. So I can also just click on it and assign it. Since the task is done, this one I can't, there's no reason to assign it, but if it wasn't done, I'd be able to get a drop down and do it from there as well. Maybe I can show it here. Yeah, so here I can also pull down, I can reassign it to somebody else. Very flexible.
Thanks, David. I'd like to thank today's speakers, Yaakov, David, and Alexandra, for your great presentation, and thank all of you for joining us today. You will receive an email with a link to view this webinar again within a couple of days, and we look forward to meeting you again at our next webinar.